Hello, viewers. My name is Amrit, and welcome to this new episode of Xobin Talks. Xobin Talks is our series where we talk to the best operators in the industry across job functions to understand how they hire, how they screen, how they build teams, and the best practices in their specific job function. Continuing with customer success, today we have with us Pratibha. Pratibha is a customer success manager at Birdeye, and she's got 9 years of experience in sales and account management, and now finally at customer success. There's a lot that we have to learn and unpack in this particular conversation, because Pratibha did not start her career in customer success, but she finally graduated into it. So Pratibha, over to you. Thank you so much for taking time out. We'd love to learn more about you, your journey in customer success. How did you come into this particular industry, and the best practices that you feel that have worked for you when you have worked in this industry and when you're building teams. We'd love to hear more from you.
Thank you, Amrit, for the introduction. So yes, as you rightly said, I have 9+ years of experience. So I started my journey in sales. In fact, I started as a sales coordinator 9 years back. And then slowly and gradually, I got into an account manager role. And now I am fully fledgedly working as a senior customer success manager with Birdeye. So it has been an amazing journey so far, because as a customer success, what I feel, you should be able to play multiple roles. First of all, as a customer success, of course, you have to understand where to find out the upsell opportunity. So if you do not have the business acumen or the sales acumen, then you don't know how to find the opportunity for upsells or how to create a pipeline out of your assigned accounts. First that. And then, of course, as an account manager, you should know that how to do a project management successfully. So for example, as a CSM, you have got 50 accounts. So and every persona is different. Every client is different. You cannot strategize every account in the same way. So you have to understand and that how to give tailor-made solutions to each and every client. So for that, if you have been an account manager in the past, then I think as a CSM, you will be really successful. So these are few takeaways from my side.
Awesome. Customer success right now, over the past, at least past 3 to 4 years, the industry is really booming. There are so many companies which are hiring for this kind of a role. There could be customer success for small companies, customer success for mid-market, and customer success for enterprise.
Right.
And this function or the job function itself changes depending upon who your company is selling to, depending upon the persona, as you said.
Right.
How do you think this role really breaks down? If, let's say, there are viewers who are looking to build a customer success team for startups versus for mid-market versus enterprise, could you elaborate on how do you think the job function changes based on the category that you are selling to?
So if I specifically talk about SMB, mid-market, or the enterprise accounts, so as per my experience, what I've analyzed, SMB customers are not that tax savvy. They have to be trained multiple times on the product. Though if you have a dedicated onboarding team within your organizations, you go through the onboarding process, implementation process, and then account is being transitioned to the customer success. But still, they are not tech savvy. So you have to be, so the customer success has to be really aggressive in terms of doing the monthly cadences, in terms of doing the quarterly business reviews. There are times they don't come on the calls. So your relationship building is really impacted. And then, of course, the future product adoption is impacted, and thereby there is no upsell on the respective account. So these are the few things which are really important. And I think the CSM who's handling this SMB accounts, they have to be a little bit aggressive, but in a subtle way. They don't have to play a complete salesperson role that, you're calling your customers again and again, disturbing them, but at least in a subtle way, they have to be aggressive enough in terms of doing quarterly business reviews, in terms of increasing their product adoption, in terms of showing the ROI, which is
Mhm.
really, really important as a customer success. Whereas if I look at mid-market and enterprise, these customers are tech savvy most of the time. These customers know how to align their goals with the respective product. And they don't have to be trained, on a consistent basis. Like once the implementation process is completed, they are through. So
Mhm.
for those customer success, to handle enterprise accounts, the customer success has to be in terms of they should know the product themselves. They should be confident in terms of their product, that what they are pitching, how they can showcase the ROI, because the other side, the customer already knows. He's
Correct.
already trained, he's already tech savvy, so he already, probably the VP of marketing or the director of marketing, knows much better than you. So in that scenario, you have upper hand than your customer.
Okay. Okay. But how does the hiring style change? Let's say that a company is hiring for SMB, a customer success rep for SMB, versus a company which is hiring a customer success um, individual for enterprise. Where do you see the skills changing? How should a company really hire for one role versus another? What should they look for?
What they should look for,
Yeah.
like in the SMB or
In both spaces, if you could
Mhm.
compare and say that, okay, these set of skills are required in SMB, these set of skills are required in the enterprise space to really become a good customer
Mhm.
success rep.
Right. Um, so I think if you are a customer success in SMB, then in SMB, what I have seen, that you are being given at least 100 plus accounts to take care
Okay.
of.
100 plus accounts.
Yes,
Okay.
because then I think you are handling more of local businesses.
Correct.
So you should be really meticulous enough. You should be really careful, and you should have certain systems within your organization so that you can streamline every account. Let's say every day you're taking 10 plus accounts to take care of.
Yeah.
You're not missing on any of the accounts. So you have to be really meticulous. Whereas when it comes to the mid-market or enterprise, you are given only set of accounts, let's say 30 to 50.
Mhm.
So I think the product knowledge there is really, really important, because as I mentioned, because the client is already tech savvy, they probably know much better than you.
Yeah.
So they can have a lot of questions in when you are doing the quarterly business reviews, especially when you are showcasing the ROI. And plus, you should be able to take care of their feature request. You should be able to align better with the engineering team or the R&D team. So I think in terms of skills, I think there's a bit difference.
So I'd like to know more about your personal experiences because you're a CS manager. You've
Mhm.
definitely built and hired a CS team, a customer success team. What do you think you look for, and how do you go about hiring for these roles? Do you go to a specific university, or do you take people from a particular discipline? Uh,
Mhm.
how do you go about hiring for CS roles?
So, in terms of the hiring, the qualities which I look for, I think if the person has an experience in different industries, that's completely fine.
Okay.
But I think he or she is organized by nature. He or she is a customer centric person, likes
Mhm.
to have client facing roles, also aggressive enough in terms of increasing the stickiness of the product, as I said, to increase the ROI, which is very, very important, and to create a upsell op, and also, yeah, is able to do the success in different accounts and able
Okay.
to read the different personas. I think these are the few qualities I like to see in a person.
And do you run any screening tests for them, or how do you go about doing that?
So as a CSM, I think role which is very, very important. I believe it can differ from organization to organization, but as a CSM, I have been taught that quarterly business reviews are really important.
Correct.
So, so I think the demo
Mhm.
should be done before
Okay.
hiring the person. That how what is the flow on the presentation? how they are showing the results, how they are showing the analytics. And so, yeah, that flow is really, really important.
I think, yeah, that makes sense because in that one particular demo, you are
Yeah,
looking at the communication skill
yeah,
and presentation skill of the candidate. So I think that kind of makes sense.
yes.
Uh, Now you had a very interesting journey per se. You started from a separate industry, a separate geography in itself. Then came into sales, account management, and then finally customer success.
Right.
What are the what did you learn in each of these previous avatars or previous
Hmm.
job stints that you had that now make you take as a good customer success manager?
So when I was a salesperson, I was responsible in finding leads, in creating sales pipeline, in meeting my targets. And when I did for 3, 4 years, that made me an aggressive person in terms of at least closing my targets, at least
Correct.
creating a pipeline, which is very, very important for any salesperson. When I got into an account manager role, I learned that how to manage accounts
Correct.
within your tenure and how to make them a successful one. And then as a CSM, I'm playing the role of, sometimes I'm playing the role of a salesperson, and sometimes I'm playing the role of an AM. And then, of course, CSM is there. So I think those learnings very, very important for me to become the CS, what I'm doing.
And we have a lot of youngsters also who follow us.
Mhm.
A lot of them ask us that we're seeing this term very often, customer success. I
Right.
am coming from a QA background. How do I get into customer success? I'm coming from a uh, uh, I'm coming from an account management background. How do I get into customer success? I'm coming from a marketing background. How do I get into customer success? These are questions which are very, very often asked.
Yes.
You mentioned a straight path and you said that, okay, sales to account management to customer success, this is a very linear path. But how about non-linear paths? Let's say someone wants to come from QA.
Mhm.
What is your suggestion for someone coming from a QA role to customer success, and B, for someone coming from a marketing role to customer success?
I think in that scenario, first you have to judge yourself that whether you would like to be in a client facing role or not, because not every one of us likes to be
Yeah,
in the client facing role, because you are being given different kind of situations every time you're being thrown in front of a different client. So first you have to understand that, because you have to become, as a CSM, you have to become the ambassador. Also, you have to become the escalation manager. As a
correct.
CSM, what I have noticed that if you are not taking your clients' concerns or their talks seriously, and if the tickets, if suppose if there is any ticket being raised and it is not being closed, let's say within a span of 24 hours to 48 hours, that means you're not taking care of them. And then somehow your client loses the confidence in you.
Correct.
So yes. So first you have to ask yourself whether can you become the ambassador and the escalation manager both, because
Okay.
that kind of situation comes. And of course, you have to like the client facing role. You have to, because now with this digitalization, yes, in the beginning it became very difficult to be on the Zoom call, but I think now more or less everyone has become comfortable.
Yeah.
So especially if it's an international market, someone is sitting in the US, you are sitting here, so you should know how to carry the conversation within the digital mode as well. So yeah, these are the few things which I think matters.
Uh, Question that a lot of VPs of HR who are trying to set up the CS function for the first time, they've asked us this in very general conversations. They've said, what kind of KPIs or metrics do you set for a CS team member? And you've
Mhm.
been there. So what kind of success metrics or KPIs do you think are typically set for a CS team?
Timely renewals,
Okay.
then whether the account is implemented or not. When I say implemented, that means whether the customer was being trained on the product or not.
Okay.
He was not trained. Sales team has sold the product, it is being transitioned. So the training is very, very important on the account. Implementation is very important because the client has to use the product on a daily basis. So this is very important. Of course, on a daily basis, CSM has to look whether there is a past due on the account or not.
Okay. This is in terms of the renewal.
Yeah, there is a renewal. There is a thing because the renewal happens once in a year.
Yep.
So of course you have to keep a look on the renewals. You should be responsible to do the timely renewals. So the account is safe. There is no churn on the account.
Correct.
And then you have to, on a daily basis, you have to see if there is a monthly billing on the account. You have to see there should not be a past due, because then there is this little fear that the customer can go back. Or if he's not paying, then what will you do in the end if he runs back from you? So, and then the CSATs, the NPS, the GRR, NRR, like I have been given the target of doing the NRR of 90% above.
Okay.
So I take care that, my account, there should not be any downside.
For our audience who doesn't know, could you tell more about NRR? I think it's net retention.
Right.
Could you just elaborate on that, because not everybody might know about that.
So what happens, you have to continuously see that there is no churn in the account. There is no downsell in the account. For example, if a client is subscribed to 10 products, so he should be able to use the 10 products in a year. If he's saying that, 8 products are useful to me, 2 products are not useful to you, to us, then there is a downsell.
Okay.
It's a loss to the organization.
Correct.
Not loss to the customer, but loss to the organization. So you have to, that's why there is a strong emphasis on the product adoption. You have to showcase the ROI. There is a call to action also.
Okay.
Priority. I have done SWOT analysis and call to action. These were the projects I have done with my team. So in that, what we used to do, that take 5 accounts and do the SWOT analysis. That what are the strengths, weaknesses, threat, opportunities on this account.
Okay.
And move accordingly. If there is a weakness, you think that the client might cancel after 6 months, then why he or she will cancel? Let's schedule a call. So yeah, so from that perspective, NRR is a wide term, and then you have to take care of the churn, you have to take care of the downsell, all these things.
Quite a few things that really affect the operations of the company, and make sure that once a sales has been done, it's not a lost opportunity and you're not losing out on it.
Absolutely.
So you have a lot of customers work with people not from the same geography.
Mm-hmm.
You are sitting in one part of the world serving customers, probably in the US. There might be a customer success manager in Madrid who's serving in South America.
Right.
So in this kind of a setup where the customer success manager is not in the same geography as the end user or the customer, what are the typical problems that you face? And if a company still chooses to do that, what is the best practices that they should deploy?
Depends on the different geographies.
Okay.
Means what I'm saying, that you are asking depends on the different geographies, that what customer success should take care of. See, I think every human being is same, especially with digitalization. I have learned that. I really used to think when I used to take care of the domestic market, probably domestic market is really different, international market is really different. Yes, there are subtle differences, there are small differences. For example, when you work with the Indian market, Indian clients have this habit of hanging you. They don't say directly no to you at times.
Yeah.
And whereas international market are very straightforward. If they're not interested, they'll simply tell you, we're not interested. We are not interested. How much you follow up with them, they're not interested. So, but again, they also like the transparency. You have to be really clear in your words, what you are delivering, what you are saying. You have to be really confident in terms of the product. If you know your product really well, if you have taken a deep dive into your product as a customer success, you have to be really confident. So I think they're good enough. So the transparency, empathy towards different personas, you have to be in their shoes at times. You have to understand from where they are coming from. So yeah, these are the things which I think makes the difference.
Awesome. And one last question before we leave. Uh, to get your work done, to get the best work done as a customer success manager,
Mm-hmm.
surely there would be some tools that you rely on. Whether
Yeah.
it's sales or developers, everybody has some tools that they love. As a
Mm.
CSM, what are the tools that you love? What helps you get your work done?
At present, Salesforce is really, really helpful
Okay.
because on Salesforce, we manage all the accounts. We see the journey on the Salesforce itself, that whether
Mhm.
the account is implemented, whether there is a past due on the account, when is the renewal coming. We also give our guidance to the customer success team that maintain the CSM next steps. So whenever you are having a conversation with your client, let's say you have a monthly cadence or the quarterly business reviews, you have to mention the steps over there. Plus, we also suggest that you log your communication history on the Salesforce itself. So whenever the manager is going through the account or doing a regular check, they go to the activity history, they see that what is going on in the account, what are the best practices the CSM is sharing on a daily basis, or what are the case studies have been shared. Let's say if there is a product they are using and they are not seeing the ROI, so you share a case study of one of your ideal customers. So Salesforce is really helpful in that scenario.
You mentioned about case studies, and this is a very recurring problem
Right,
in the customer success industry, especially when you're dealing with mid-market and enterprise customers. You have a great equation with your customer, and you pitched them saying that, okay, let's do a case study, and your customer is ready to do it. But then comes the customer's marketing team, and
right,
they say that, you know what, I don't think this customer story is really reflecting our brand. And then comes the legal team, and they say that, okay, we need to get involved in this.
right.
How do you manage these kind of situations where a simple case study becomes a very long drawn process?
Yeah, that's a hurdle at times, but again, suppose if the customer has joined your organization, it's aligned with your, it's done a partnership with you, you at least give your customers 6 to 8 months to become a successful one.
Okay.
You show them the results, you show the analytics, and then gradually request a testimonial or case study from them. And you should be able to do that with tons of customers you are having. Let's say you have acquired 300 plus customers in a span of 2 3 years. So at least you should have 50 to 60 case studies with you. So I think more case studies are helpful. But yes, these kind of scenarios come that when the customer is not able to relate with the case study, then you should be able to drive the product by yourself. That becomes difficult, but I think can be taken care of by showing different kind of analytics or by your convincing skills during that situation.
All right. Thank you so much, Pratibha, for your time. I think this was really useful for all of us. We will share this video, and we will get some questions from our users, and we'll direct it towards you if there are any questions directed
Mhm.
towards you. But thank
Absolutely.
you. I think we learned a lot, especially given the fact that on a metrics front, what are the things that one should track? Things like NPS, things like NRR. How do you differentiate between hiring for SMB versus hiring for enterprise? I think uh, the case study method that you mentioned, the demo method that you mentioned
Mhm.
was very unique. I think we would also advise some of our customers on the same. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you so much for calling me.
Thank you. So that was it, guys. That was Pratibha, and I hope you all learned as much as we learned from this particular conversation. Feel free to share your questions, and we'll make sure that they are answered from Pratibha. Until next time, bye bye. Thank you so much.